Julian Caponia here, the world's most patrician, and I'm here with another album review of Loris Gilles' Let's Go Sunny. Loris Gilles is a moniker donned on by Vincent Festa, former frontman of the Toronto indie alternative rock band Hot Tea, which unfortunately disbanded in 2016. Let's Go Sunny is the first album under the new nickname Loris Gilles, and it hopes to continue where Hot Tea left off with that sort of jangle, surf rock, garage rock style that they executed very well on LP No. 2.
You gotta be oriented towards something, because otherwise you're disoriented. You just spin around in circles.
The album kicks off with the first song, Never Been Surfing, which features a pretty amateurish guitar riff, pretty simplistic, leaves a lot of empty space in the song, which is unfamiliar if you've listened to the whole album already. The rest of the album has so many sounds and effects going on that it's very peculiar how this track feels purposefully empty and void of so many sounds, but it's a good introduction, I guess, to where this album will kind of take the listener. You get introduced to the vocals, that bluesy guitar riff, and hints of some strange guitar effects, but not too much. Around the halfway mark of the song, it swells up to more sounds, more instruments, and that's a part of the song I really enjoy, but unfortunately it doesn't stay on that swell for too long and kind of dissipates to that simplistic guitar riff again and again until the song eventually dies down. I really enjoyed the break in the middle of the song, like I said, but unfortunately the song didn't stick on that sound throughout the whole duration.
Towards something. You have to figure out what it is. What will work for you?
Just after listening to the rest of the album, I wish there was more drum fills, you know, more technical drumming maybe, just more instruments, maybe a harmonica there, more tambourine, or a cool guitar effect that is sprinkled around the rest of the album. But for some reason, this track just doesn't show it. And fortunately, the rest of the songs do, and it kicks off with the second track, Sea of Blood.
What goal would justify the suffering of your life? Start trying to piece that together. You're going to get better at it. But it's a personal process, so you need a personal place to stand, because otherwise you're going to be handed a place to stand on a plate.
Sea of Blood starts off with this very familiar guitar riff and great sounding guitar effects, and it's a much busier song than Never Been Surfing. It's one of my most favorite songs in the album, not the favorite, but one of the favorites. I especially love the chorus and how the vocalist yells and stretches out the word blood. It reminds me very much of the Pixies on their song Tame, and there's a lot of other influences you start to see forming on the song Sea of Blood, maybe an OC's influence here, or Ty Segall for you alternative indie rock listeners. But enjoy the song. It picks up the album from where Never Been Surfing kind of started it. Never Been Surfing kind of started at a low point, and from Sea of Blood on, I feel like the album really starts to take form. It grows some legs, and it starts to become an earworm, and that's where the album really starts to shine. The album continues with these punchy guitar riffs and powerful drums on the song Sarcophagus Lids, which is another great executed song by the artist. It has a lot of familiar sounds to the Arctic Monkeys' Humbug album, very sinister and dark and kind of gets you moving. Great instruments, you know, surrounding the riffs, the guitar riffs and the drumming, and it really comes together. Great moments in this song and great change in movements as well. I love it when the album decides to get off a tangent onto another tangent and just ride that out. And we see that in much later songs where the artist will find these corners, these little pockets of sounds, and just explore them and see what's there, you know, and really play with itself, and not in a masturbatory way, but more in a exploratory way, which I very much value, and that's where I feel this album really connects with me, and I feel like in successive albums by this artist, I feel like that is where he should take this sound, and I think he'll have some success in doing that.
Meaning is what you have to buttress yourself against the tragedy of life. Despite the fact that you're a fragile, damaged, mortal creature, you found something to do that announced itself as worthwhile. That's meaning. It's an instinct. It's a deep instinct.
Sarcophagus Lids ends on such a pure rock outro, and then the artist mixes in some Animal Collective type guitar effects, which are reminiscent of their album Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is a very nice touch as it leads into the next instrumental song, Gilles, which I think is well placed in the album and is well executed, like I've mentioned many times before in this review. But I feel like it's such a... I feel like it's hard. It's hard to throw in an instrumental song in the first quarter of an album and really not make it so aggressive and abrasive and kind of, you know, tacked on and make you lose track of what's going on. It really just complements that surfy guitar edge the album has to it and lets your mind wander and gives you sort of that break of the heavy, punchy guitars and drums and lets you soak it in like you're on a beach, you know, soaking in the sun, as you will. It's called Let's Go Sunning, so the album better let you soak in some sun. But I like this song, Gilles. It's a great break. It's a very risk-taking move the artist takes on this album so soon, and it is a great compliment to the ending of the album where, not to spoil it, but there's a 10-minute track, pretty much a 7-minute instrumental that Gilles prepares you for, so it doesn't come out of left field, you know, near the end of the album where the listener's like, wow, why is he taking 7 minutes and there's no vocals? Well, Gilles prepares you for that, and it's a great song and one of my favorites, and it really takes you on a journey, and it doesn't, you know, it's not jarring in any sense, and I really enjoy this song.
Meaning tells you when you're in the right place.
The album comes out of that instrumental Gilles with the track Mace Felter, which comes back with that punchy guitar sound, heavy, you know, muddied guitar riffs, powerful upbeat drums. It has a lot of change in movements in the song with a great chorus, and also displays an interlude near the halfway mark of the song, very reminiscent of Gilles, and the instrumental once again isn't jarring at all, doesn't come out of left field, lets you just relax in the different sounds the artist has put together, and it lasts for quite some time, enough to make you forget you're listening to the same track, because it comes back with the chorus of Mace Felter once again. And to me, the first time listening to it and subsequent listens, it catches me off guard multiple times, where it comes back to that chorus once again and you're like, wow, it is the same song. I totally forgot I was on this groove here. And it's great how the artist manages to pull that off and to bring you back off that tangent and back onto the track in a very seamless way and in a cool way, and once again not in a jarring way at all.
And the right place is between chaos and order. And those are real places, your hemispheres.
Mace Felter is a great compliment to Gilles, the instrumental song before it, and is a great compliment to the next song after it, In Need of Heat, which is a 10-song epic and just a wonderful job, just a masterful undertaking performed by the artist, which I don't know how the artist pulled it off, but he managed to make those 10 minutes not seem like 10 minutes. It doesn't drag on at all. It features a 7-minute or 8-minute instrumental. Psychedelic riffs abound, Mars Volta-esque vocals and strange movements, and is just it's where the album really flourishes, And from the start of Gilles through Mace Felter in its own interlude and into In Need of Heat, just this is where the album for me really shows the skill of the artist, the ambition of the artist, and where the artist, you know, wishes to be. And the fact that he does it solo and with no backing band members is a triumphant undertaking, and I applaud the artist for doing this. So many band influences in this song. You got OCs, Mars Volta, King Gizzard, and the Lizard Wizard with that psychedelic tinge to it. Just so many sounds and so many instruments and so many things going on, that for the artist to put it all together in this package and to make it not sound complicated at all, and just, you know, not straightforward, but to make you stay on the tangent for so long and not make you get out of that groove or that that mood. It's quite the effort. And once again, like I said, I applaud the artist for taking such a risk in putting a 10-minute song in such a very guitar garage rock heavy album. It very well mixes well together, and it shows that the artist has more than just that familiar heavy punchy guitar sound. You know, he could really experiment into these weird pockets and explore these sounds, and it's not as a listener you just kind of drift off and your mind takes you wherever it wants to take you, and there's no real aggressive sounds or abrasive angles to it that will make you jump out of it. And just it's a great song, my favorite on the album, and I hope to hear more of these types of songs in the future discography of Gilles. After that 10-minute trance, the album concludes with two back-to-back simplified, straightforward guitar dominant tracks in DNA and Your Grave, which is so familiar to Brick by Brick and that general suck it and see feel from the Arctic Monkeys that I enjoyed it quite well. I'm an Arctic Monkeys fan myself, and I know the artist Gilles is as well. And to be honest, the chorus riff on DNA actually sounds like a rip-off of Brick by Brick. It feels like a beat by beat take on Brick by Brick. But if you're not a huge Arctic Monkeys fan, it's fine. It's not, you know, distracting in any way. I actually love that kind of bluesy 70s rock or 50s, 60s rock that the sound is going for. But it's good that the album concludes on two familiar guitar heavy songs to take you out of the instrumental interludes that started with Gilles and then continue with Mace Felter and ending with In Need of Heat. I feel like the album really felt good to end on such straightforward rock and back to that classic rock feel.
The right hemisphere is roughly evolved, let's say, to deal with things you don't understand. That's chaos. And your left is there to deal with things you do understand. And you can't just stay with the things you do understand because you already understand them. And you can't just stay with what you don't understand because then you're lost. And you need to be in the middle of those two. And you can tell when you're in the middle.
Your Grave is a great conclusion to the album, tying in the lyrical themes of the sun and heat and soaking in, you know, that sunshine and being on the beach in California, drinking a drink, maybe with alcohol. But I feel this album, it's a good album. It does enough on its own. It takes many influences from the bands I've mentioned throughout this review, but I feel like it stands on its own. It's very unique. It brings you in with a garage rock, surf rock, you know, heavy guitar dominant sound, but then takes you on these tangents of psychedelic rock sounds, and I feel it executes it well. I feel like it does a good job of that, and you don't hear much of that these days, especially from a first attempt album like Gilles has. I feel like that's a big risk, and I feel like he accomplished the risk, and it sounds good in doing that.
And you can tell when you're because everything lines up.
The album for me just has one blemish on it, which is the first track, Never Been Surfing. After hearing the rest of the album, I feel like more of those unique sounds needed to be fleshed out in Never Been Surfing. I wish it explored more pockets that a lot of other tracks did throughout the album. I feel like the main guitar riff was very simplistic, and for some reason the song kept trying to get back onto that riff, which I didn't like. Overall, I enjoyed my time with the album. I've been listening to it a lot. It's a very summer album. Do not listen to this album in dark, snowy conditions. It's very much a on the beach record or hanging out barbecue times with your friends record. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this thing. But what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? What should I review next? That's it for me. Thank you for watching, and like always, thank you for your support.